Hello, good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to today's Kaleidoscope session. I am Shubhangi and I lead the branding and communication efforts at And Academy. Um, so today we are going to be talking with Dr. Sunita Konwar about how to become a designer to a designpreneur. But before we dive right into that conversation, I would like to take 2 minutes to talk a little bit about And Academy. So And Academy is a online design school, one of a kind online design school that was established on the pedigree of IIAD, which is a brick and mortar design school based out of New Delhi. What is the difference between IIAD and at IIAD? You will find degree courses that are designed for people that are coming right out of school. So you have bachelor courses, but at the courses are designed for working professionals and are also designed keeping in mind upskilling. So these are professional short courses, and we offer these courses in the domains of graphic design, interior design, and UI UX design. The other thing that is very peculiar about and is all of these courses are delivered online, and they still sort of borrow from the design school model of learning. So all of these courses are very live and interactive. It's not going to be a passive session. We are in a passive session today, which is a webinar mode where one person's speaking and the other person's listening. But our classes are not like that. Those are more interactive and live. We also rely heavily on tech to sort of simulate or create that environment for you. Most of these courses are part-time courses. We have one full-time course in graphic design. Other than that, most of these courses are part-time. Um, Other things about An Academy that you should know are that it's not a new model that we've sort of developed. This is not an experiment. It is uh, a refined model that is built on the pedigree of IIAD, which has been in the design education or imparting design education sector for over a decade now. So that is the pedigree that we actually come from. All of the courses at AND are designed by people who are design practitioners and also academicians. So you get very relevant, updated knowledge about the industry. Um, as I mentioned before, all of these courses are delivered in a live, interactive manner. And as I said, that people who are part of the design industry and are practitioners have designed these curriculum, but have also been part of delivering the course. So your mentors, your faculty members are also people that are active practitioners. We also focus on design process and principles, which is basically the fundamentals of design over software learning. So you do get to learn software, which is your Photoshop and After Effects and Figma and InDesign, and for interior design, there's AutoCAD and SketchUp. But what is it that you will do with these software? How to design on those software or tools is what we teach at AND. All of our curriculum is also woven with a lot of projects that you work on with your peers and your mentors. You get one-on-one feedback from your peers and your mentors. And these projects then culminate into a portfolio. That is what you sort of create at the end of your course. We also have a lot of faith in the quality of design education that we provide at AND. So we also offer job guarantee on some of our courses, given that you also meet your minimum attendance and portfolio building, etc., etc. So we put in a lot of effort into these courses. So we expect the same from you. Other than that, we have been around for over 3 years now. We are a community of 1,200 plus learners, 50 plus mentors, and 200 plus hiring partners. We're also rated 4.6 on Google. So if you want to take up a course with please do check us out on Google. That is all about And Academy. But today we will not be talking about the courses at hand. We're here for a Kaleidoscope session. So to talk about Kaleidoscope, it was a property that was conceptualized as uh, uh, a forum where we invite designers and people from the design industry to share their perspective or their myriad perspectives on design. So we look at design from many or different lenses. Today we have with us Dr. Sunita Konwar. Sunita has over 30 years of experience in teaching. She has completed her PhD in economics from Mumbai University and thereafter headed the Department of Economics at a college in Mumbai University. She went on to work as Dean PGDN with IILM Management Institute at Lodi Road. She also shared her knowledge with students in other institutes such as ISPF, JIMS, IAPM, Asia Pacific, and TERI as a visiting and contract faculty. One of her many distinguished accolades include researching and publishing papers globally in the field of public finance, laying emphasis on internal public debt. From 2010 till 2018, she's worked with Pearl Academy, taking care of courses like MA in fashion marketing and BA in fashion business management. She was also heading the CSR department at Pearl Academy. Dr. Sunita holds a distinction in PG certificate in higher education from Nottingham Trent University. From the year 2019 onwards, she is working at IIAD as a course leader for MA in fashion business management. With that, I hand over to Sunita, ma'am. Just give me a moment to jump to the presentation.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Shubhangi, for that introduction. And I'm just going to set a context, as to what this presentation is going to be like. So since I've been teaching for about 40 years and more now, so I have a lot of stories to tell you, and these stories are woven so beautifully into what does it mean to start your journey as a designer and to become a designpreneur. We're talking about, how can one become a very successful entrepreneur? So I'm going to request Shubhangi to kindly go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So there are two stories that I'm going to talk about. And this is not just a story, but it's an experience that I've had teaching for these many years that I have been teaching. So the other day, I was sitting in my faculty room, and one of my students walked into the faculty room wearing a new kurta. And along with her, there was another girl who was not known to me. So when I said, what is it about? So she said, she's my friend from fashion design department, and I am acting as a model for her. And I'm wearing this kurta, which she has designed. So she said, okay. So she said, how is this looking? And I said, it's looking very good. And so my first question to her, that fashion design girl, was, how much is this kurta for? She paused for quite some time. And then she said, this is for 9,000 bucks. I said, 9,000. Why is it 9,000? So in my faculty group, I have a person who's an expert with fabric. So I got her, she was sitting in my room. So I said, how much do you think is the fabric going to cost? So she gave me a rough thing, and it came up to about 500 or 600. How much is the fabric used, etc. In Jiffy, we calculated all of that. And the trims, this, that. And the cost of production was not coming to more than about 700, maximum 800. So I said to this girl, why are you charging so much? Is your kurta, this product that you've made, is it a brand, so to say? She said, no, I'm very new, so it is not brand. So why are you selling it for 8,000 or 9,000 bucks? So she had no clue. I asked her, okay, what is your cost of production? She had no clue. So you understand how a fantastic designer, but she did not know what is the cost of production, who she is going to sell this kurta to, at what price which is going to bring her profit, she had no clue about it. Yeah, so this was my first story that I'd like to speak about. The second story, Shubhangi, if you can click the next one. Yeah, this second story, we were having a inter-college competition going on. And in this inter-college competition, we had students participating from various colleges. And when they came to our college with their presentation, they were coming from, some design institutes, which were having in architecture. So this particular set of students were from an architecture institute. And when they came up, to present their idea, I had a whole jury of members who were sitting there, and they were talking about, they basically were sitting to judge as to how these people are presenting, what is their business pitch, etc. Now they came and they built a fantastic story. They were architecture students, and they said that how they had once gone for a field visit, and that involved going for about a week. So they had packed their baggages, everything, to study some architecture. And on their way back, when they came back to the railway station, they found that the train was late for about 7 to 8 hours. Now these people wondered, there were no benches to sit. They just didn't know what to do. Some of them tried to sit on this suitcase that they had got, but they were so scared that it is going to break. So then the thought came, how about designing that suitcase in such a manner that you can even sit on it? And they showed us beautiful sketches, etc., that how this bag is going to be made such that you can sit on it and it is not going to break, and the seat is going to be foldable, etc. And after showing that bag, the sketch, etc., we were all getting very excited sitting there as jury members, and we were wondering that next what? And they abruptly stopped. And we looked at each other and we asked them, I said, is there anything next? They said, no, this is what our design is. And then we said, okay, how much is the cost that you're going to be using in order to produce this bag? They had no clue. Which market are you going to sell? They had no clue. What is the price at which you're going to sell? Again, they had no clue. So just imagine what a wonderful design idea. But we couldn't give them any price because there was no business plan in it. So what I'm trying to bring forth in this particular two stories that I'm narrating, that brilliant design. But unless there is a business aspect of it involved in this, then very difficult to become successful designers. That's why I chose the topic, from designer to designpreneur. How to become an entrepreneur as a designer. Okay, so many of our students these days, when they are joining college, first year of undergraduation, imagine by the time they go to the second year, they've already started their online business. One of the students who turned an entrepreneur, imagine she started with an event company and she did some 3 events. And in that 3 events, by the time she got the money, she said, I asked her, I said, how much is a profit that you have made, your net profit, minus all your cost? She said, ma'am, I have made totally from these 3 events, I have made 35 lakhs. And she said, I feel so proud of it because I'm able to cover the entire education expenditure. I'm giving this money back to my parents who spent all this money on my education. Yeah. So what went into that? She earning 35 lakhs. So that's what the story I'm basically trying to get at. Now, when I go to this one, now these were 2 designer stories that I spoke about where only design was the main focus and not the business idea. I'm going to talk to you about another story. This person was also one of my students. And what did his journey begin as? This young boy, okay, second year of undergraduation, this boy and his sister, they were both very good, like close to each other because parents were both working, and these two brother and sister were great companions to each other. Now, as the sister grew, she naturally got married. And even after marriage, the brother and sister would go out, and then the sister conceived and she was pregnant. So her movement out of the house became very restricted, yet she was able to go out. But when she gave birth to her baby, all others, this sister's husband, in-laws, they were all going out, but the sister was left alone in the house because she had a small baby, and very difficult for her to go to a public place and feed her baby. So what this brother felt, why is it that my sister cannot go? And he was doing fashion business management with us. And he thought, are the garments made in such a manner that, mothers cannot feed their children, of their babies? So what he did was he went to different railway stations, in the nearby area. He went there wanting to know that, is this problem existing only with my sister, or is it a phenomena, which is this problem faced by many other young mothers who've just given birth to their babies? He went to railway stations, recorded, asked people, called them up on the interviews, focus group discussions, and with a huge research, he produced a report saying, yes, there is a gap. And we do not have garments which mothers can wear and go out comfortably and feed their babies. And here this boy now found a problem, and he made the entire collection of these garments. He went to fashion design department, he went to factories to make those garments, he did everything. And finally, there was this international competition that came, which was called as James McGuire competition. And this youngest boy in that international competition had the guts to participate. And guess what? His entire research, his entire collection, what is going to be the cost of producing each one of that, at what price, who is going to be his target, all that presentation, everything done. And guess what? This guy in that international competition won the first prize because of his business idea. I have goosebumps when I'm telling you this because it was such a wonderful, successful story. And he won 20,000 US dollars as the first prize. And now this boy has already started this. He has a brand and he started this collection and it's doing very well. Yeah. So through these three stories, I'm trying to say that it's very important that, again, I'm repeating this, that it's very important not just to know how to design your product, but you also have to know how to sell your product. So what goes into making a business plan, therefore? Shivangi, can I please request you to go to the next slide? Yeah. So these are some of the questions, that we'll have to answer in order to understand what goes into making a business plan. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. So these are 5 or 4 questions that we need to ask. What is it that I am making? Why am I making it? For whom I am making? And how will I do it? So these 4 questions, if I have answer to, my 75% of my problem is done. Yeah. So let's go to each one of them. Go to the next one, please. So when I say what is it that I'm trying to make? No. So clarifying basically, what is your business idea? You are defining what you're offering and what problem are you trying to solve. Yeah. So what are these what's that we need to answer? One of the what's that we need to have an answer to is what is the problem that is existing? And therefore, what is the need, that I am trying to cater to? Like I was telling you about this, one of my students who finally was able to do 35 lakhs as her profit. So in the final year, they had to do a capstone. And in capstone, she chose that she will come up with a business plan. Now, what she saw that, what was booming, she understood, was the event company. And in events, it was wedding that was doing the best. Now, this girl did the entire research to find out how big is the event industry, and in that, what is the share that the wedding has. And after that, she understood that yes, there is scope. And what she did, she came up with the entire idea. She got some clients, and then she was able to fulfill that. How big is this client? How much is the budget that they have? In this budget, what I can do. And believe me, least marketing, because she did that first event so successfully that she was able to get so many more clients as a word of mouth. Yeah. So what problem are you trying to cater to? Yeah. And when I say what problem, it basically means, can I validate this problem that is existing with real people? The second question that I'm going to ask myself when I'm proposing a business plan is, what is my solution? What is the product? Am I providing a product or am I providing a service? Like this girl with wedding industry was doing service. The boy with James McGuire was making a product. So in this question, I have to answer, describe what are you offering? And secondly, what are the features, what design, what material, what functionality you're going to come up with? Then the third question is, what is my USP? Why would people come to buy my product? Yeah. What makes my product better than anyone else? Is it design that is making it better? Is it pricing that is making it better? Is it convenience? Or is it, I'm a very sustainable, I'm making my product using absolute sustainability factors. So what is my USP? That is what I have to be very clear. Then what is my value proposition? Why should someone come and buy my product? Yeah. What value am I delivering to the customer? Yeah. How does it improve their life, their work, or their emotions? Yeah. So I remember I saw this ad, this hair oil, almond hair oil ad. And in that, the last thing that they say, that 1 rupee of this money that you're spending on buying this product, that 1 rupee is going to be used for giving education to females, in the country. And believe me, that has hit the nail on the head, because everyone feels that what a noble cause. And I'm going to buy this product because there is a value proposition that one is able to get. And what is this value proposition for me? The emotion that it is attaching. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide and answer the question, which is talking about why, which is validating the need and the market potential. We are basically justifying here the reason that my product should exist in the market. So answering questions like, why will my product sell? Is there demand existing? Are people aspirational, or they feel that this product is very essential for me? Yeah. So that is what I have to ask. And then, why now? Is this the right time? Are there economic or cultural factors that are pushing demand? I mean, look at like the world was hit with COVID. And especially since we are all, I was living in India at that time. So when I talk about India, I mean, I'm 62 years old. And before COVID, if I had to buy my provisions in the house or anything, I would always go to the shop and buy it. But COVID taught us that everything can be bought online as well. And these people, people were not going to the restaurants. Most of these restaurants started selling provisions. Look at the way they are trying to understand this question of why now. So can I see at this point in time what is going to be selling? That's very important to understand. Then who are my competitors? How many people are existing in the market with a similar kind of an idea? What is their weakness? What is a gap that is existing there? Are they doing well? If not, if there is a gap, how can me entering into that competitor's market, what is going to be my niche? So identifying that. And the last question in why, what gap exists in the market? Are the competitors ignoring a certain segment of the society? They are only catering to this particular segment. They are not catering to the other segment where I can enter. Are these people too expensive? I can't buy. For example, look at Zara's model. No, I cannot enter into buying buying a Dior product because it's a luxury, come on. But I have the aspiration to buy Dior's designs. Zara immediately copied that and made it affordable for me to buy. Yeah. So what unmet need can I fulfill is what is the question that I need to answer. Yeah. Let's go to the next one, Shivangi. Now, the next question is, who is it that I'm going to sell my product to or my service to? And so this is my customer segmentation. Yeah. So important to understand. Like, I'll give you an example. Yeah. So there is a student of mine. Now, the project that we gave them was, suppose there is a brand like Uniqlo. So they had to introduce a new line of product for Uniqlo, assuming Uniqlo in India is not doing swimwear for women. So this girl said, okay, I would like Uniqlo to introduce swimwear. So did the entire market study, etc. And then she said, came up with the idea, she came up with the designs. The second part of this particular project was, which country are you going to take it to? Which another country that you will take it to? And she chose that she will take it to one of the, Arab countries, So now when she said that, okay, I'm going to take it to one of the Arab countries, then what was the problem? These designs that she made, they were not acceptable. She knew that the culture is not existing for them to wear two-piece maybe. So for that market, she designed completely a different outfit. Yeah, different swimwear. So customer segmentation, very important to understand. Now, when we talk about in customer segmentation, what do we need to understand? First and foremost, the demographics. What exists in demographics? It is the age of the customer. Who am I making this product for? What is their age? What is their gender? It is male, female. What gender? What is their income group? They should be having the ability to buy. What is their occupation? What is their education level? So these are questions that I need to understand before I even think of launching my product. Then the next thing that we are looking at in customer segmentation is psychographics, which means what are the values that these people have? What are the beliefs? What are the aspirations? For example, you go to any other country, like my daughter is studying in Japan, and when I go to Japan, when I go to McDonald's over there, you get beef burger very easily. Can I sell beef burgers in India? No, I cannot, because we have some very different value systems. So I have to understand the product where I'm selling, what is the psychographics of the customer over there? Yeah. Are they eco-conscious people? Are they trend-driven or are they value-driven? Like if you go to a city like Bombay, they are very clear that most people in Bombay are very value driven. I'm not going to spend money unnecessarily. I have to see that the product or service that I'm buying, what is the value that is going to be given to me as a result of buying that particular product. Yeah. Then the next thing is geographics. Where do these people live? I mean, simple thing, you go to buy apples, you will find apple prices differ based on what is the location that they are being sold at. For example, in Delhi, you go to golf links, you will find price of apples is more than going to Lajpat Nagar and buying apples over there. Yeah. So geographics make a huge difference. For example, whether it is an urban area or it is a rural area, whether it is a tier 1, tier 2 city. The other day, some people in my college came and we were talking about luxury brand management as one of the courses. And this luxury brand management, they were promoting in a city, in a tier 3 city. And when they asked how many of you have heard about brands like Louis Vuitton and Dior and Chanel, nobody put their hands up. Is that the right market for me to talk about luxury brand management? Maybe not. So geographical area becomes very important for us to understand. Then last one is behavioral customer segmentation. How do these people shop? Do they buy online or offline? What kind of customer are they? What is their behavior? Are they loyal customers? Are they price sensitive customers? Are they impulsive customers? Which means, oh, I saw this product, I picked it up. Yeah, impulse buying. So for who, it's very important for us to understand these 4 aspects. Now coming to the last aspect and last question, that is, can you go to the next slide, please? How do they buy? Their creativity, this is where creativity meets strategy. How will you bring this idea to life? This idea that I have. For example, this boy, James Maguire guy, that I'm going to design, top wear for women who are feeding their babies. So how are you going to do this? So what are the questions that he had to think about, that we all will have to think about, is how will I buy or source the product? Where am I going to source it from? Okay. Are you making this product for yourself? Are you collaborating with artisans? Are you going to have some vendors? Are you going to outsource it? How are you going to source? Okay. Then how much will be the cost? Cost of production, cost of packaging, cost of distribution. What will be my fixed cost? What will be my variable cost? How huge is going to be my fixed cost? Yeah. So these are cost elements that we will have to look at. Then, how will I price the product? Which basically means, am I going to price at cost plus something? Okay. Or am I going to be making my pricing as value-based or competitive pricing? Yeah. So, for example, if you look at Zara and H&M, you'll find Zara prices are far higher than H&M. H&M is far more affordable because that is what the brand chooses its pricing strategy. It wants to increase its base of the customer. Yeah. So the next question is, how will I reach my customer? What is going to be my marketing strategy? Am I going to reach my customer through Instagram, through pop-ups, through retail stores, or am I going to have a website? So very clear marketing strategy. Not just marketing, how am I going to make my branding strategy? Yeah. How will I sell it? Will I sell it, as I said earlier, through e-commerce? Am I going to sell it in brick and mortar stores? Am I going to sell it through exhibitions? Am I going to sell it through partnership? I don't have my own store, but I keep my products in some other brand store. Yeah. So what is going to be the model in which I'm going to sell? How much money will I need to start? Okay. So basically, initial investment. Do I need to raise funds? I will have to think about it. Or can I start small? That is my choice that I'm going to do. Yeah. How will I measure success? Very important. Is money the only way that I can measure success? Revenue? Not necessary. Number of users. That is a huge success story. What is my customer satisfaction? Yeah. Or what is the social impact that my product is having on society? These are all parameters which can be, measuring the success. Yeah. Can you please go to the last slide now? Yeah. So I've made this very clear, flow chart to accept and to see how the business plan can be made. So first and foremost is identify what is the problem that you are coming up with. Like I said about that boy, the problem was that problem for him was somewhere close by. Another story, for example, was that we had a professor, my colleague, and, he had his daughter, and this daughter was, she was a Down syndrome child. So she could not get up. She was on a wheelchair, and, what a wonderful little girl she was. And as she grew, she had this aspiration that she would come to college sometimes, and because, in a design college, in a fashion design and fashion communication, etc., courses where you have, the girls are very fashionable. And this girl used to come and look at these girls and say that, why can't I wear the kind of clothes that they are wearing? So this friend of hers who said that I am going to design clothes for people like these who are on wheelchair. So the problem identified was very clear. After you've identified the problem, then you have to do market research. Okay, find out how big is the problem. This problem is not just yours. Is it existing in society for other people as well? And if yes, then how big is that problem? So that we can do by doing market research through secondary research, through primary research, giving questionnaires, interviews, which is qualitative research, focus group discussions, observation, so that is your entire market research. We also do hypothesis testing here. Okay. Now, after the market research is done, then your idea gets firmed up. So idea is generated. After the idea is generated, you need to test that idea. Making a prototype may not necessarily be actually making a prototype, but it can be a digital prototype that you are making and testing. Are people accepting it or not? After that test, your idea is finalized. Once your idea is finalized, then you go and make your actual prototype. Yeah. Now, after the prototype is done, you have to look at, as I said, which market are you going to tap for it? What is going to be your market segmentation in the sense of which customer is going to be my buyer? Then you have to look into the financial aspect of it as to what is the cost that you are spending on, how much is the price that you're going to be, how long you're going to take to make break even and then earn your revenue. Okay, how are you going to market your product? How are you going to make your product known to people? Yeah. And lastly, how is the distribution and logistics going to be taken care of? Of course, there are many elements. I wanted to make this particular session absolutely easy for you to understand. Therefore, I just picked up some important aspects and I have come to share this with you. So after you have done all of this, and this is what our students have done in the capstone, and there are quite a few who have started with their own business plan. Like there is this girl, as I said, about, this girl who was doing events. There's another girl who has started with her own makeup brand. and she has opened a salon. It's like she's bought that from, it's not a franchise, but she's a profit sharing with looks. And she's called her brand as Shate. And she is running one facial, believe me, one facial, and she's in Noida. Her salon is in Noida. One facial, she takes about 18,000 bucks. And she is making fantastic profits. I mean, when I meet this girl in her 5 months of capstone, when I see her today, the kind of confidence that she has been able to build, and her salon is making fantastic profits. There are celebrities who come to launch their own products and introduce that in her salon, so that because she's become very well known now. Yeah. So this is what I have to say. And now, if there are any questions that you would like to ask, I would be very happy to answer.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. So the floor is open for questions now. If anybody has any questions, you can use the Q&A box to put in your questions so that we can answer those systematically. But ma'am, let me start by asking something that we usually do get from people that have started their own practice or have started freelancing, which is uh, as a fresher or as a freelancer, how do you go about pricing yourself? So there exists somebody, say from the first story that you said, that a kurta that is priced at a 9,000 bucks, and somebody who did not know how to price their product or a service. How should a fresher person who's creating a product or a service, how should they start by with the pricing, and what is it that they should be looking at?
So, thank you for asking that question. For example, now we understood, for example, in our institute itself, we found that the fashion design students are not able to do costing. So we have introduced for them certain sessions where we teach them what are the aspects, how to calculate your cost. For example, just the fabric, you have to make this much. How much is the fabric that you will be required to buy? And, so making, like if there are trims, like the thread that you're going to use, how much is that thread going to be? What buttons? So we are taking sessions for them, and also once you, these students now with 3 sessions, like 3 hours session, they are able to get the basics. And when they have any questions, they do come and ask us.
Right. But with ma'am fashion design, I think, or product, if you're creating something that is tangible,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
relatively, I would say, simpler for you
Service.
to
You
be
mean
able
to
to
say service is difficult? Yeah.
So, like, say for graphic designer or an interior designer or a UI UX person, their product is their service.
Absolutely. So that's why understanding of competitors very important. You see, I'm not doing something which others are not doing. Yeah. So look at the prices that they are charging. So when our students also, even for product or for service, now, for example, this Shate girl, she is choosing 18,000, for a facial. Why is it so expensive? Because of the product that she's using for my massage and everything. Now, when she looks at how much is that kind of a product sold in the international market, because she's getting most of her products made outside. Yeah. So that's how, see, competitor understanding will make me understand what should be my pricing.
Right. And we've also spoken about like different aspects that go into making a new business, right? So somebody maybe who's starting their own practice or own studio or something like that, what are the soft skills other than your core skill that is design for anybody who's starting out? What are some other soft skills that you would recommend that a fresher should be looking at? So maybe communication, maybe costing, maybe something else.
So see, I feel that soft skills, etc., everything very important that they can get. But in a business plan, no, what is most important is the right attitude. Is The other thing that is very important is fearlessness. I may fall. I may not earn profits in the first few months or maybe 1 or 2 years. That aspect of I will not give up. I'm not going to be scared of risk, because that is what entrepreneur is all about. So I think, yes, soft skills, very important, very good communication skill, and always having this attitude that I'm not going to run somebody down in order to promote my product. Doesn't work. That time has gone. Now the time has come. Let's flourish together. So these skills, I think they are very important. Negotiation skill, very important to have. Collaborating skill, very important to have. Convincing skill, truthfulness, these are values, very important to have.
Right. Ma'am, I think we have a question. Aruna, I think your question is a bit unclear. If you could just put in the Q&A box, what is it that you mean by your question? That would be great.
Maybe if you read, I can try and make sense out of it.
Aruna has just written, ma'am, UI UX skills. It's
Yeah.
you know what to make of it. Another thing, ma'am, that we get asked often is what are some resources that young entrepreneurs should look at? So, are there any books that they should be reading? Are there any, I don't know, podcasts that they should be listening, websites, etc.?
There are, yeah. They are, I just feel live Shark Tank, brilliant thing to do. One of my students went into Shark Tank, okay, and she got funding from them, and it was, so one is Shark Tank. I know it's very difficult to enter over there, okay, but I think persistence will make one do it. There's loads of podcasts of such fantastic entrepreneurial stories. I think information on Google is immense that is existing. Yeah. And if you see the journey of these entrepreneurs, when you hear the podcast, I think more than anything else, they're only talking about encouraging these entrepreneurs to become hardcore employers rather than seeking employment. Why can't I generate employment for so many? I'll give you one very simple thing, in Dehradun, there is this school for economically backward children. It's called Purkal. And in Purkal, so the children, they got all these rickshawalas and people working in somebody's homes. Their children, they begged them and they said, please send your children to our school. We will teach them. And we will give them food to eat. So you don't have to give any food to them. So the school was giving them breakfast and lunch. And in the evening, they will pack a box for them to take home for dinner. So when the mothers were coming to drop these children, they were just sitting out doing nothing. So what the lady of the husband was running that school, and his wife, she saw that these women were just doing nothing, absolutely not skilled at all. Then she collected all of them. She started teaching them how to stitch and etc., etc. And now Purkal has opened Sri Shakti. And in that Sri Shakti, there are so many of these mothers who were sitting out doing nothing. They're earning money by creating some products. And guess what? People didn't know at all that this, Sri Shakti products are existing. So what they did, they contacted us and they said, can you please help us make a website? We don't know how to market. And this was a project we gave it to our students, and they made the entire website. Please go and see on Google, just type Sri Shakti and you will see they have fantastic buyers. We did this last, I think 3 or 4 years back, we did this project with them. And there are such good foreign companies that are buying from Sri Shakti now. So, and this is what your
perseverance and to be able to, there is definitely perseverance and hard work that goes into building such products and models. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
So I think Aruna is asking, how do you create interactive prototypes in Figma? I think, Aruna, this is not the correct forum for this question. It is a more software focused question. You can definitely join one of our courses and then learn to use these tools. But yeah, we would like to keep the questions relevant to the topic. And if you have any doubts about design, we would like to address them. But I actually lost my train of thought. But yeah, perseverance and hard work definitely goes into building such models with different kinds of people. There is another thing that people often struggle with, and which is scalability in a business model. You do have a good product and you do have a good value proposition that you bring to the market, but to be able to scale that product or that service to create something that is really, really long term and sustainable is something that people struggle with often. And I would say at a young age, you do not understand the importance of scalability in a market. But how do young designers go about navigating that?
So I'll give you an example. So there is this village in Bihar, and they, out of the old saris, they make rugs, and it sells like hot cake. But the point is, if I buy one rug, I'm not going to keep buying. How many times am I going to change? So when these people came to us for this project, they said, how can we scale it? We said, for scaling, you have to do product diversification. You have to look at the products which customer is going to buy over and over again. So then we gave them ideas as to what are the products that they can make with that same skill. You can make, coasters, you can make lamps, you can make book covers, and cushion covers. So it's not just a rug. They were only doing rugs. So which market is going to sell only rugs, no? I mean, look at most of the brands now. In order to increase, luxury brands, they have trickled down, selling accessories because they have to scale.
Even diversifying into different markets definitely and tapping into different demographics will help with that diversity for sure. Great. So I think we've come to the end of this session. I would like to close this session on my favorite question that I love asking. I use this moment to sort of be a little self-indulgent and ask this question. Ma'am, you've been in the design industry for so long, and you've seen so many different designers. You've taught so many different designers. If you were to redesign something today, from something that is a small product like a safety pin to something as big as the Delhi Metro railway system, what would you redesign?
What would you redesign?
Yeah.
I think, it's not just one product that one would redesign. I think the way, for me, the biggest thing is everything else can be done. But the way we think, what is my process of thinking? I think I'm going to redesign that. For the sake of these youngsters who have fantastic ability, you and I cannot even dream of what kind of ability you have. So I feel I am going to redesign the way they think. And when that is kind of, I feel that is what is hitting the nail on the head. Everything is going to change if I retune and redesign my thinking. Yep. Thank you.
That's a great note to sort of end this session on. Thank you so much, ma'am, for doing this with us. Thank
Thank
you
you.
to everyone who stuck around till the end of this session. Thank you for taking out the time to come join us. I hope you learned something and had fun while doing this. If you have any questions about And Academy or the course, write to us at social@andacademy.com or info@andacademy.com, or you can just leave an inquiry on the website. We'll definitely get in touch with you. With that, I say bye-bye and good night. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.